Your kind doesn't belong here. Security! The words slice through the Grand Manhattan Hotel's golden ballroom like a blade. Victoria Sterling's manicured hand, adorned with a $40,000 Cartier bracelet, deliberately tilts her wine glass. Dark red Merlot cascades onto the orange dress of a black woman standing quietly by the marble column. 500 guests in designer gowns and custom tuxedos turn to watch. Some laugh. Others whisper behind champagne flutes. The black woman doesn't move, doesn't speak. She simply watches the wine spread across the silk fabric like blood on sand. Victoria's voice rises, sharp enough to shatter crystal. I asked you a question. Who let you in here? This is an invitation-only event for legitimate business leaders, not whoever walked in from the street. The woman's fingers brush the stain gently. Her silence speaks louder than any scream could. In 3 hours, that silence will cost Victoria Sterling everything. Have you ever been judged before someone knew your worth? Subscribe to see how silence becomes the ultimate power move. Amara Johnson stands 5 feet 8 inches tall in her modest heels, her natural hair swept into an elegant bun that requires no ornamentation. The orange silk dress, purchased for $800 from a department store, fits her athletic frame perfectly. She chose orange deliberately tonight, the color of sunsets and new dawns, of fire that purifies rather than destroys. On her lapel sits a small phoenix pin, its golden wings spread in eternal flight. Her hands tell stories the Cartier crowd cannot read. The faint scar across her left palm came from the machinery at her father's factory, where she spent summers learning that dignity comes from work, not inheritance. The calluses on her fingertips formed during the 18-hour days building Orion Global Holdings from a cramped Chicago apartment into a financial empire managing $280 billion in assets. 20 years ago, she sat across from a loan officer who denied her $5,000 because people from Southside Chicago were high-risk investments. 10 years ago, her first IPO attempt failed spectacularly, leaving her with $17 in her checking account and a choice between buying dinner or taking the bus home. She walked 3 miles that night, saving the money for ramen noodles that would last 2 days. Tonight, she controls more wealth than most small nations. Her portfolio spans 47 commercial properties, including the very building where Victoria Sterling now stands sneering. 112 companies across 14 countries depend on her signature. When she speaks, markets listen. When she moves, industries pivot. Victoria Sterling inherited everything at 25 when her father's heart gave out on the 9th hole at Pebble Beach. Sterling Industries, a 120-year-old manufacturing conglomerate, dropped into her lap like a trust fund baby's first Ferrari. She never learned to build, only to maintain. Never learned to create, only to consume. Her MBA from Wharton came with a building named after her grandfather. Her first board meeting began with applause she hadn't earned. The contrast between them runs deeper than skin. Where Victoria's movements are theatrical, designed for Instagram stories and society page photos, Amara moves with the economy of someone who once counted every step to save shoe leather. Where Victoria's voice projects to ensure everyone hears her perceived importance, Amara speaks only when silence has laid the foundation for her words to land with maximum impact. The tablet in Amara's hands contains the future of Sterling Industries. 6 months of due diligence condensed into a definitive merger agreement worth $4.99 billion. Without this deal, Sterling Industries will hemorrhage $50 million monthly until bankruptcy arrives within 9 to 12 months. The debt-to-equity ratio of 85% tells a story of mismanagement that began the day Victoria took the helm. Amara's fingers tap a subtle rhythm on the tablet's edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, like a countdown to detonation. She learned long ago that revenge is a dish best served with documentation. Every word Victoria speaks gets recorded by the phone in Sarah Chen's purse, streaming live to 3.2 million viewers who don't yet know they're watching corporate history being written. Robert Kim, the Hong Kong investor standing near the champagne fountain, recognizes the Orion Global logo on Amara's tablet. His eyes widen. He knows that logo represents more power than every person in this room combined. He takes a step back, creating distance from the blast radius he senses coming. The wine stain spreads across Amara's dress like a map of all the territories she's conquered. She doesn't need to look at it. She's memorizing faces instead. The ones who laugh, the ones who look away, the ones who secretly record. In 45 minutes, each of them will pretend they tried to stop this. Her mother's voice echoes from decades past. Baby, they'll use your skin as an excuse for their fear. Let them. Fear makes people reveal exactly who they are. Victoria doesn't know it yet, but she's already dead. The only question remaining is how much of her father's empire Amara will let her keep as she falls. Look at you. Victoria circles Amara like a predator who doesn't realize she's stalking an apex hunter. Standing there like you belong. Did you sneak in through the service entrance? I bet you told them you were here to clean up after us. The crowd shifts, forming a semicircle. Their designer shoes click against marble as they position themselves for the best view of the unfolding drama. Margaret Ashford, draped in vintage Chanel, whispers to her husband, "This is why we need stricter guest lists. They think money can buy them access to our world." Amara's breathing remains steady. 4 seconds in, hold for 7, release for 8. The same technique that kept her calm when bankruptcy loomed, when competitors tried to destroy her, when her father's cancer diagnosis arrived the same day as her first $1 million contract. "That dress," Victoria continues, her voice dripping designer disdain. "What is that, Target? Walmart? Oh wait, I know. It's from one of those outlet malls where they sell last season's mistakes to people pretending they can afford fashion." Dr. Harrison Wells, CEO of Meridian Pharmaceuticals, chuckles into his scotch. "I support diversity, but there should be standards. We can't just open our doors to anyone who manages to scrape together a few dollars." The wine stain has settled into the silk, creating patterns that look almost deliberate. Amara touches it once, her fingers coming away burgundy. She could mention that this dress cost more than most Americans earn in a week, but that would be playing Victoria's game. She has a different game in mind. "Security!" Victoria's voice cracks like a whip. "We have an intruder, someone who clearly used a fake invitation or stole one from an actual guest." 2 security guards approach, their faces uncertain. They see Amara's elegant bearing, her expensive shoes, the way she holds herself like she owns the room, because she literally does. They hesitate. "What are you waiting for?" Victoria stamps her heel, a child's tantrum in Louboutins. "Remove her immediately. She's trespassing." James Morrison, the Wall Street veteran who once shorted housing markets for sport, adds his voice to the mob. "This is exactly why I don't hire them. They don't understand boundaries. They see something nice and think they deserve to be part of it." Sarah Chen adjusts her phone's angle, ensuring the live stream captures every sneer, every cruel laugh. The viewer count climbs past 500,000. Comments flood in faster than the app can display them. The world is watching privilege reveal its ugliest face. "I think there's been a misunderstanding," Amara finally speaks. Her voice carries the authority of someone who's negotiated with presidents and prime ministers. "You seem to believe that I don't belong here." Victoria laughs, harsh and brittle. "Believe? Honey, look around. Do you see anyone else here who looks like you? This isn't some community center fundraiser. This is where real business happens. Billion-dollar deals, legacy wealth, things you couldn't possibly understand." The irony tastes metallic in the air. If Victoria had done even basic research, she'd know that Amara closed $3 billion deals last month alone. But privilege breeds blindness, and Victoria's vision only extends to the mirror. "You probably read about this event in some diversity newsletter," Victoria continues, playing to her audience. "Thought you could network your way into relevance. Let me save you the embarrassment. We don't do charity cases here." Margaret Ashford nods approvingly. "It's sad, really. They see our success and think proximity will rub off on them, as if standing next to excellence makes you excellent." Amara's tablet buzzes. A message from her legal team confirming all signatures are in place, except one. Hers. The Sterling Industries acquisition waits like a guillotine blade, held by a thread she's about to cut. "Ma'am," one security guard ventures, clearly uncomfortable. "I need to see your invitation." "She doesn't have one," Victoria interjects. "I personally reviewed every name on tonight's list. She's nobody, a nobody in a cheap dress who thought she could fake her way into our society." The words hang in the air like a confession. Our society. The admission that this isn't about business or merit or achievement. It's about bloodlines and skin color, about who gets to claim belonging by birthright versus who must earn it 1,000 times over and still be denied. Robert Kim edges closer to David Morrison, the event's host. "That's Amara Johnson," he whispers urgently. "From Orion Global. She owns this building." Morrison's face drains of color faster than champagne from a flipped glass. He starts to move forward, but Amara catches his eye and shakes her head almost imperceptibly. "Not yet. Let Victoria dig her grave a little deeper. You know what's really pathetic? Victoria's on a roll now, drunk on cruelty and audience approval. You probably spent your whole savings on that dress, thought it would help you fit in, but class isn't something you can buy at a discount store. It's something you're born with, something that's been in my family for 5 generations. The live stream hits 1 million viewers, then 2 million. Screenshots spread across social media faster than wildfire in drought season. Victoria Sterling, unaware that she's becoming the most hated woman on the internet, raises her voice for the final act of her performance. "Security, I'm done playing games. Escort this woman out before I call the real police, and make sure she understands. Her kind is not welcome in our world. Not tonight, not ever." Amara looks at the security guards, then at Victoria, then at the crowd of faces twisted with smugness and superiority. She opens her mouth, and 4 words change everything. "You should have researched." The tablet screen illuminates Amara's face as she turns it toward Victoria. The Orion Global Holdings logo gleams like a judge's gavel about to fall. Definitive merger agreement between Sterling Industries and Orion Global Holdings. Value, $4.99 billion. Final execution date, tonight, 11 p.m. Victoria's sneer freezes on her face like a death mask. The champagne flute in her hand trembles, sending tiny golden ripples through the crystal. Page 173, Amara continues, her voice carrying the weight of inevitability. Signatory with final approval authority, Amara Johnson, Chief Executive Officer, Orion Global Holdings. She pauses, letting each word land like a hammer blow. That would be me. The sound Victoria makes isn't quite human. It's the noise of a dynasty collapsing, of privilege meeting consequence for the first time. No, that's not. You can't be. 6 months of due diligence. Amara scrolls through the document with practiced ease. $50 million in legal fees. 200 pages documenting every weakness in Sterling Industries. Your debt-to-equity ratio of 85%. Your monthly burn rate of $50 million. Your desperate need for this acquisition to avoid bankruptcy within 9 to 12 months. The security guards step back as if the very air around Amara has become charged. One of them, a veteran who's seen powerful people rise and fall, recognizes the shift in the room's gravity. Power has changed hands without a single raised voice. "This is a joke," Victoria's voice cracks like thin ice under weight. "Someone hired you. This is some elaborate prank. You're an actress. You have to be." Amara lifts her phone, each movement deliberate as a chess grandmaster's final play. "Legal team? This is Amara Johnson. Authorization code. Phoenix Rising. Terminate the Sterling Industries acquisition immediately. Cite Material Breach Clause 17.4. Actions contrary to corporate values and ethics." The room fills with the sound of phones vibrating as news alerts flood in. Bloomberg. Sterling Industries mega deal collapses. Wall Street Journal. 4.99 billion acquisition terminated. CNBC. Sterling stock plunges in after-hours trading. Victoria's phone explodes with notifications. Board members, shareholders, creditors, each ring another nail in her corporate coffin. She fumbles to answer, but her hands shake too violently to swipe the screen. "You asked if I understood billion-dollar deals." Amara addresses the room now, her audience captive. "Last month alone, I closed 3. The Jakarta port expansion, 2.7 billion. The Mumbai tech corridor, 3.1 billion. The Sao Paulo renewable energy grid, 4.2 billion. Margaret Ashford stumbles backward, her Chanel suit suddenly feeling like sackcloth. Dr. Harrison Wells drops his scotch, crystal shattering against marble, in a sound that mirrors careers ending. "You asked who let me in," Amara continues. "I own this building. The Grand Manhattan Hotel is one of 47 properties in Orion Global's real estate portfolio. I don't need an invitation to enter my own property." David Morrison finally finds his voice. "Ms. Johnson, I am profoundly sorry. When Ms. Sterling said you weren't on the list, I should have verified." Amara silences him with a glance. This isn't his moment for redemption. This is Victoria's moment for education. "The dress you mocked? $800 from Nordstrom. I could afford couture, but I choose to remember where I came from. Every dollar I don't waste on vanity goes back into communities like Southside Chicago, where children with brilliant minds are told they don't belong in rooms like this." Sarah Chen steps forward, phone still recording. 3.2 million people are watching this live stream. It's trending #1 worldwide. She looks directly at Victoria. "Everyone saw what you did, what you said, who you really are." Victoria drops to her knees, designer dress pooling around her like spilled milk. "Please, I'm sorry. I didn't know. The company, 3,000 employees depend on Sterling Industries. My father built it over 40 years. You can't destroy it because of a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding?" Amara's voice could freeze flame. "You saw my skin color and made a judgment. You saw my dress and assigned my worth. You called security to remove me from a building I own. That's not a misunderstanding. That's exactly who you are." "The employees," Victoria grasps at straws. Think of them. They'll lose everything. Orion Global will establish a $100 million transition fund for Sterling Industries employees. They'll receive full severance, extended health care, and job placement assistance. But you and your board? You're not part of the restructuring. You chose discrimination over due diligence. Robert Kim speaks into his phone, loud enough for everyone to hear. Liquidate all Sterling positions immediately. Yes, all 500 million. Tonight. The dominoes fall faster now. 15 major investors announce their withdrawal. Sterling's stock price drops 45% in 20 minutes. A century of reputation evaporates like morning dew under an unforgiving sun. This isn't fair, Victoria sobs, mascara creating black rivers down her cheeks. You can't ruin me over one mistake. I apologized. What more do you want? I want you to understand something. Amara kneels down, bringing herself to Victoria's level. The gesture isn't kindness. It's to ensure her words hit with maximum impact. You're not sorry for what you did. You're sorry for the consequences. If I had been the nobody you assumed, you would have slept soundly tonight, proud of protecting your society from people like me. She stands, towering over Victoria's crumpled form. Your father built Sterling Industries with his hands and mind. You're destroying it with your ignorance and hate. That's your legacy now, the woman who lost $5 billion because she couldn't see past skin color. James Morrison, the Wall Street veteran, tries to slink toward the exit. Amara's voice stops him. Mr. Morrison, you said you don't hire them. I'll be sure to mention that to the pension funds I advise, the ones that represent 40% of your investor base. The room watches Morrison's face cycle through the stages of financial grief. His phone rings. He doesn't need to answer to know what the message will be. Money isn't just numbers on a screen. Amara addresses the room one final time. It's power. And power in the wrong hands perpetuates the very systems that would have locked me out of this room 20 years ago. Tonight, you've seen what happens when those systems meet someone who refused to accept their verdict. Victoria's phone rings again. Her father calling from retirement in Palm Beach. She stares at the screen, unable to face the man whose life's work she's just incinerated on the altar of her prejudice. One more thing. Amara turns back to Victoria. The material breach clause I cited? Your corporate charter includes a commitment to diversity and inclusion. You signed it yourself last year for the optics. Ironic, isn't it? Your own signature just cost you everything. The phoenix pin on Amara's lapel catches the light, its golden wings spread in triumph. The wine stain on her dress no longer looks like spilled blood. It looks like war paint. And the war is already won. Victoria Sterling claws at the marble floor as if she could dig through to a reality where the last 10 minutes never happened. No, no, no! This is my company! My great-great-grandfather started it with his bare hands! She lunges toward Amara's dress, desperate fingers grasping for something solid in her collapsing world. Her own security guards, the ones she commanded moments ago, step forward to restrain her. The irony cuts deeper than any blade. Daddy! She screams into her phone. Make this stop! Call our lawyers! Call the governor! You know people! Her voice breaks into hyperventilation. She can't do this to us! The crowd that laughed at Amara's humiliation now retreats like roaches from sudden light. Margaret Ashford mumbles about an urgent call from her driver. Dr. Harrison Wells discovers he needs to check on a patient immediately. 15 executives ghost toward exits, deleting videos from their phones as they flee. Their exodus reveals the truth. Cowardice dressed in couture, prejudice wrapped in privilege. When the powerful fall, their friends evaporate faster than champagne bubbles. David Morrison, host of the Gala and CEO of Morrison Holdings, approaches with the caution of a man defusing a bomb. "Ms. Johnson, I cannot express how deeply sorry I am. You've been our diamond patron for 5 years. When Ms. Sterling claimed you weren't on the guest list, I failed in my duty as host." His hands shake as he continues. "You've donated $30 million to our charity initiatives. Your foundation has sent 200 kids to college. And I let her." He gestures helplessly at Victoria's crumpled form. "There's no excuse." The real-time destruction of Sterling Industries plays out on every phone screen. The stock ticker looks like a cardiac monitor flatlining. 2.1 billion in market cap vanishes in 30 minutes. Trading halts trigger automatically, but the damage is done. Blood is in the water, and Wall Street sharks never miss a feeding frenzy. Amara's voice cuts through the chaos with surgical precision. "Everyone in this room needs to understand something. Money doesn't buy character. Power without principle is just tyranny with a checking account. And discrimination dressed in designer labels is still discrimination." She turns slowly, making eye contact with each remaining guest. "How many Amara Johnsons have you dismissed? How many brilliant minds have you locked out because they didn't look like your country club roster? How much innovation have you killed with your ignorance?" The live stream comments scroll faster than human eyes can read. Amara Johnson effect trends worldwide. Black excellence destroys white privilege becomes the most shared video in social media history. 25 million views and climbing. "Ms. Sterling asked who I am," Amara continues. "I'm the daughter of a factory worker and a nurse. I'm the woman who was denied a $5,000 loan 20 years ago. I'm the entrepreneur who built an empire from nothing while people like her built walls to keep me out." Victoria's sobs echo in the vast ballroom. 247 missed calls light up her phone. Board members, investors, creditors circling like vultures over carrion. Her father's name appears again and again, each ring a judgment she can't face. "Please," Victoria whimpers from the floor. "I'll do anything. I'll resign. I'll apologize publicly. I'll donate to your charities. Just don't let my father's company die." "Your father built with honor." Amara's words fall like a judge's gavel. "You destroyed with hate. Sterling Industries will survive, under new ownership, with new values. But the Sterling name? That dies tonight with your reputation." Robert Kim announces to the room, his voice carrying the weight of 800 million in assets. Effective immediately, Kim Holdings divests all positions in Sterling-affiliated ventures. We cannot be associated with discrimination. A cascade of similar announcements follows. Pension funds, sovereign wealth, private equity. Each departure another nail in Victoria Sterling's professional coffin. "I want the employees to know they're safe," Amara addresses Sarah Chen's camera directly. "Orion Global takes care of people who work with dignity. The transition fund is already established. No one loses their job because of their CEO's bigotry." She looks down at Victoria one last time. "But you? You're done. Not just at Sterling. Everywhere. This video will follow you forever. Every Google search of your name will lead here, to the moment you revealed exactly who you are." Victoria's designer dress, the one that cost more than most cars, spreads around her like a $50,000 shroud. Her Cartier bracelet catches the light, a $40,000 handcuff to a future she destroyed in 40 seconds of hate. James Morrison's attempt to escape ends when his phone explodes with notifications. The pension funds Amara mentioned are already calling. His firm hemorrhages capital in real time. Another casualty of proximity to prejudice. "Security," Amara calls to the same guards Victoria tried to weaponize. "Please ensure Ms. Sterling finds her way out safely. She's had a difficult evening." The guard's deference to Amara speaks volumes. Power recognized. Authority acknowledged. The woman Victoria tried to eject now commands the very forces meant to exclude her. As chaos swirls, Amara stands perfectly still. The eye of a hurricane she created with nothing but truth and timing. The wine stain on her dress has dried into something that looks almost deliberate, like a statement painted in Merlot. Amara steps over Victoria's trembling form with the grace of someone stepping over a puddle, acknowledging the obstacle without letting it slow her stride. "The wine will wash out," she says quietly. "The lesson in character won't." The security team parts like the Red Sea, forming an honor guard nobody ordered. These men and women who provide safety for the powerful recognize power when it walks among them. They've seen plenty of inherited wealth, but self-made authority carries different energy. It doesn't demand respect. It commands it. Outside, a Rolls-Royce Ghost idles at the curb, its black surface reflecting the city lights like liquid obsidian. The driver, who's been with Amara for 10 years, opens the door without a word. He saw the live stream. Everyone did. "Office or home, Ms. Johnson?" "Office. We have work to do." Inside the Grand Manhattan, the Gala guests stand frozen in a tableau of shattered assumptions. The woman who whispered about people buying their way into society now stares at her champagne, seeing her own reflection distorted in the bubbles. "Dear God," Margaret Ashford whispers. "How many times have I done exactly what Victoria did?" A young tech CEO, maybe 25, and flush with his first successful exit, voices what others are thinking. If someone like Amara Johnson can be treated that way, what about my employees? What about the founders I've dismissed because they didn't fit the pattern? The questions ripple through the crowd like aftershocks. How many opportunities have we killed with our assumptions? How many innovations have we strangled with our prejudice? How much wealth have we left on the table because we couldn't see past our biases? In the car, Amara's fingers fly across her phone screen. "Marcus, set up the Sterling Employee Transition Fund. 100 million, available immediately. Priority goes to minorities and women, the ones Victoria probably made miserable." She pauses, considering. "And Marcus? Make sure Victoria's assistant gets a signing bonus at her new position. She'll need good people around her, and loyalty to bad leadership shouldn't be punished." The city streams past the windows as her phone erupts with notifications. CNN wants an exclusive. The Wall Street Journal is preparing a feature. 60 Minutes is calling. She silences them all. Actions speak. Let others provide the commentary. Her CFO texts updates in real time. Sterling Industries. Trading halted after a 45% drop. Emergency board meeting scheduled for 6 a.m. CEO vote of no confidence already has majority support. The Sterling dynasty, 5 generations of American manufacturing, decapitated by 5 minutes of discrimination. "Pull up the acquisition pipeline," Amara instructs her driver to relay to the office. "We'll find another manufacturing company to save. One that understands the 21st century doesn't look like the 20th. Back at the hotel, Victoria Sterling sits alone in the ruins of her reputation. 247 missed calls have become 312. Her father's latest message sits unplayed. She knows what it will say. 120 years of building, destroyed in 120 seconds of bigotry. The resignation letter she'll submit at dawn is already being drafted by Sterling's general counsel. The board wants distance from the disaster. The Sterling name, once synonymous with American industrial might, now means something else entirely. It means the price of prejudice in the age of smartphones and social justice. David Morrison surveys his empty ballroom. Half the guests fled, The other half cluster in small groups, processing what they witnessed. He approaches the wine stain on the marble floor, the spot where Victoria's drink marked the beginning of her end. "Leave it," he tells the cleaning crew. "At least for tonight. Let it remind us what happened here." Sarah Chen uploads the full video to every platform. 3.2 million live viewers becomes 10 million replays in an hour, 20 million by midnight. The comment sections fill with stories, people sharing their own moments of being deemed unworthy, unfit, unwelcome. Amara Johnson has become more than a CEO. She's become a symbol. In her office, 53 floors above Manhattan, Amara looks out at the city lights. Each gleaming window represents dreams, ambitions, potential. How much of that potential never gets realized because someone decides it comes in the wrong package? She touches the phoenix pin on her desk. Tomorrow, she'll wear it again. But tonight, she has an empire to run and a transition fund to deploy. Excellence doesn't rest, and neither does she. 3 months later, Amara Johnson's face graces the cover of Time magazine. The headline reads simply, "The Woman Who Changed Corporate America." Inside, a 16-page feature documents the ripple effects of one night at the Grand Manhattan Hotel. Fortune 500 companies report a 43% increase in minority leadership appointments. The phrase, the Amara test, enters corporate vocabulary, a bias assessment tool that asks one question. Would you treat this person differently if they were Amara Johnson? The orange dress hangs in the Smithsonian now, part of an exhibit on power and transformation in modern America. The wine stain remains untreated, preserved like a battle scar that tells a story words cannot capture. Sterling Industries exists under new ownership, absorbed by a competitor for $1.2 billion, a quarter of what Amara would have paid. 2,700 employees kept their jobs under the transition fund. The Sterling family name vanished from the building within a week. Victoria Sterling works as a junior analyst at a fintech startup in Brooklyn. Her salary, $62,000 a year. She takes the subway now, stands among the people she once dismissed as unworthy. Every morning, she passes a billboard featuring Amara's Phoenix Rising Fund, which has deployed $500 million to minority entrepreneurs. At Harvard Business School, Amara addresses 5,000 students. She wears another orange dress, this one costing $600. The phoenix pin glints under the auditorium lights. They told me I didn't belong. Her voice carries to the farthest seat. They looked at my skin, my clothes, my background, and decided my worth. They were wrong. But more importantly, they were afraid. Afraid that excellence comes in packages they don't recognize. Afraid that power might look different than their mirrors. She pauses, scanning the diverse faces before her. You'll meet your own Victoria Sterlings, people who confuse their privilege with merit, their inheritance with achievement. They'll try to make you small, make you doubt, make you seek their permission to exist in spaces you've earned. The students lean forward, hungry for the wisdom born from struggle. But here's what I learned that night, standing in my own building while someone tried to throw me out. Excellence doesn't need permission. Achievement doesn't require approval. And power, real power, doesn't announce itself with designer labels and inherited names. It announces itself through impact. She touches the phoenix pin. Every time someone tries to burn you down, remember, phoenixes rise from ashes. And when you rise, you don't rise alone. You rise for everyone who's been told they don't belong. The standing ovation lasts 12 minutes. Later, in her Southside Chicago Community Center, Amara cuts the ribbon on the Amara Johnson Leadership Academy. 500 students will learn that their zip code doesn't determine their destination. Their skin color doesn't limit their aspirations. Their bank balance doesn't define their worth. As the sun sets over Chicago, painting the sky orange like her dress, like her defiance, like her victory, Amara speaks the words that will echo through generations. In a world that says you don't belong, your existence is revolution. Your success is rebellion. Your excellence is the ultimate response. The phoenix rises. And it doesn't rise alone.